Hope you guys aren't sick of me yet, because now we're going to take a look at horizontal reflection. So take out your notebook and pencil. I'm going to piece out in this box. And this time we're going to be looking at the graph of f of x equals 2x minus 6. So it's the same one as last time. And we're going to reflect it across the the y-axis. So I already have my line graphed and I've got some points labeled. So if you need to take a moment to go ahead and plot that line, go ahead, pause the video. Alrighty, welcome back. Okay, so this problem is asking us to reflect the graph of f, so remember this is f, over the y-axis. So if we are reflecting over the y-axis, we want to make sure that our new points are the same distance away from the y-axis. So for example, this point 5,4, that is 5 units away horizontally from the y-axis, so that new point is going to be 5 units away from the y-axis on the other side. So my new point is going to be -5, 4. Okay, this point 4,2 is 4 units horizontally away from the y-axis, so the new point is going to be 4 units away on the other side. So that's going to be -4, 2. This point 3, 0 is 3 units away from the y-axis, so the other one is going to be -3, 0, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. Okay, so now they want us to write an equation for h. So I'm going to start off by writing h of x, and let's just go ahead and label that line h. So h of x equals, now if I'm trying to get from one point to the next, I'm going down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And so that means I've got a slope of -2. So our equation so far is h of x equals -2x, and then I'm looking for my y-intercept, which is actually the same as our f line. So y-intercept is at -6. So there's our equation for h. So how are the equations for f and h related? Well, one thing we can say is that we can look at the slopes again. So I've got a slope of -2 for h of x and a slope of 2 for f of x, and we can say the slopes are opposite. Okay. But what's nice is that our y-intercepts stayed the same. So we can just go ahead and write that in. So I'm going to shorthand y-intercept stayed the same. Okay. And so now we want to summarize what we learned about our reflections over the y-axis. Well, if we take a look at our inputs, let's see, our input here was 5, whereas over here it was -5. Input here was 4, whereas over here it was -4, 3, and -3. Excuse me. So we can say that our inputs are the opposite. And if we look at the y values of those coordinates, they stayed the same. So we could say the outputs stayed the same. Okay, so if we want to show this change in an algebraic way of writing this, well, since our inputs stayed the same, and we know that whenever we want to change our inputs, we change the things that are inside our parentheses, we would write, and since the inputs are the opposite, we would write -x. Okay, so if we're trying to show this whole change, we would say that h of x is the opposite of the inputs of f of x. And there's our rule. So this would show us a horizontal reflection, or another way of saying that is a reflection over the y-axis.